Good day, everyone. Before I discuss this topic, I would like you to guess the Zoom picture here. It is the first one. Guess what it is? Okay, let's see the answer. It is rules. Let's go to the next picture. Guess what? It is the Ombudsman. After guessing the Zoom picture here, I know that you have an idea of what is my topic. Today, I will tackle the Administrative Order Number 7 or the Rules of the Procedures of the Office of the Ombudsman. So, ibig sabihin po nito, ano daw yung mga dapat at hindi dapat sundin o yung mga rules nga na tinatawag sa pag-investigate or pag-hear ng Office of the Ombudsman sa mga cases. So, let's move on to the contents of this topic. Originally, there are 5 rules including the preliminary provisions in this lesson. However, I will focus on the preliminary provisions and rule number 3 or the procedures in the administrative cases. Preliminary provisions. Rule number 1. Section 1. Title: Rules of Procedure of the Office of the Ombudsman. Section number 2. Shall apply to all criminal cases and administrative complaints, grievances, or requests for assistance and such other matters cognizable by the Office of the Ombudsman. So, ibig sabihin daw po nito na itong rules daw ay pwedeng i-apply sa pwedeng criminal cases, administrative complaints, or grievances or request for assistance. Katulad ng sinabi ko kaganina, and iba pang usapin na nasasakop ng ombudsman. So, section 3, complaints may be in any form, either verbal or in writing. For a speedier disposition of the complaint, however, it is preferable that it be in writing and under oath. Complaining party must indicate his address and telephone number if any. So, ibig sabihin daw po dito na kapag daw mag-file ng complaints, kailangan yung complaints ay pwedeng verbal or nakasulat. Pero kung para mas mabilis at saka mas formal, mas maganda ay naka-form in writing po para mas mabilis po i-process. So the person complaining or the complaining party must provide their address and telephone number if any. So ibig sabihin daw na nagrereklamo ay kailangan ay merong silang address and telephone number na doon sa pinagreklamuhan nila doon sa ombudsman. So it shows na accountability na kapag yung complaints nila naman pala ay hindi man yung ganun ka-serious. So pwede silang tawagan yung complaining party. So let's move on to the next slide. So rule number 3, procedures in administrative cases. Section 1. Grounds for administrative complaint. An administrative complaints may be filed for acts or omissions which are the following. So, on the screen are the following grounds for an administrative complaint. So, pwede tayong mag-file ng complaints if these grounds were present or happened. So, the first one is contrary to law or regulations. So, it means the violation of the law or the statute or violation of rules and regulations. So, alam naman na natin yung contrary to law or regulations. Letter B, unreasonable, unfair, oppressive, or discriminatory actions. So, it is about actions causing hardship or harm or bias decisions, at saka yung it involves also the unjust treatment or unequal application ng rules, at saka yung abuse of authority or discretion. So halimbawa nito is dun sa isang agency, yung pinakang head nila, tapos silang dalawa is nagkaroon ng issue yung dalawang employee between two employees. So yung as a head, meron siyang mas pinapanigan hindi niya kinonsider yung isang panig. Ganun. So another one is inconsistent with the agency's functions. So when we say inconsistent application of rules or regulations or laws, so with an example of this is within an agency. So halimbawa na lang sa time management or yung sa time in and time out noong mga employees or officials. So doon halimbawa is palaging late, maraming late. So nakikita doon na hindi sila inconsistent doon sa rules sa kanilang agency. Letter D, based on mistake of law or an arbitrary ascertainment of facts. So it talks about incorrect interpretation of the law or regulations or incorrect application of laws and regulations. So sa isang agency halimbawa is nagkaroon ng halimbawa dun sa pag-compute ng tax. So namali yung nag-compute ng tax at ang iba yung ginamit niyang taxation system. So pwedeng mag-file ng complaints. Another is yung unfounded or substantiated factual conclusions. Halimbawa, may nagsabi na yung isang employee ay nagnakaw, ganun. So, kailangan merong evidence. Yung may evidence talaga na nagpapatunay na yung sinabi mo yung sinabi nung employee na yung katrabaho niya or coworker niya is nagnakaw nga ni talaga. Kung hindi naman, so wala siyang patunay, so pwedeng ireklamo din yun, mag-file ng complaints. Letter E, in the exercise of discretionary powers but for an improper purpose. So by its word improper purpose, so ibig sabihin yung discretionary power ng head of the agency o nung a particular agency is ginamit niya hindi naman sa makatarungang paraan. So it talks about the abuse of authority for personal gain or bias. Pwede rin namang misusing powers for unlawful or unethical objectives and unjustified favoritism or discrimination. So halimbawa sa isang agency, nagkaroon ng halimbawa ay merong hiring. So yung head of the agency is ginamit niya yung authority niya, yung discretionary power niya na magpasok nung halimbawa ay kaibigan niya or kamag-anak doon sa position na available. So doon nagkaroon ng also yung favoritism or discrimination dahil nawala ng chance yung ibang applicants na makapasa or makuha yung posisyon na yon. So letter G, due to any delay or refusal to comply with the referral or directive of the ombudsman or in any of his deputies against the officer or employee to whom it was addressed. So it talks about the non-compliance with the ombudsman directives. So ibig sabihin kapag halimbawa is yung ombudsman is may pinapapasang kung ano mang mga dapat ipasa halimbawa nag-file gusto mag-file ng complaint sa hindi naman pala na follow or ni-refuse nung tao. So pwede mag-file ng complaints. Tapos isa pa is halimbawa yung ombudsman ay nag-investigate ng case. So at ang lumabas ay halimbawa ay ganito. Kung ano man yung lumabas dun sa case na sa kanilang naimbestigahan at so meron sila dong tinatawag na recommended action. So kapag yung actions na yun ay hindi naman pala ginawa nung isang agency na yun, so pwede mag-file pa rin ng complaints. And letter H, other grounds under Executive Order 292 and applicable laws. So, for example, is that violation of specific laws, rules, or regulation. For example, is graft and corruption, and any other offenses or misconduct defined by the law. So those grounds are used to file complaints against the government officials or employees. Let's move on to the section 2. The Office of the Ombudsman has disciplinary authority over all government officials, including cabinet members, local governments, and government-owned and controlled corporations. However, exceptions include Congress members, the judiciary, and the official removable only by impeachment who may be investigated for misconduct. So it means that the Office of the Ombudsman can only discipline the government officials in executive branch, cabinet members, secretaries or undersecretaries, local government officials like mayors, governors, councilors, and government-owned and controlled corporations or GOCC's officials. So but also there is an exception. So merong exception na yung ombudsman doesn't have a disciplinary authority, but meron silang authority, yung ombudsman ay merong authority to investigate. Merong investigatory power yung ombudsman dito sa mga sumusunod na ito. Ito yung mga Senate and House of Representatives or Congress. And judiciary officials like Supreme Court or Supreme Court justices or judges. Officials removable only by impeachment like President, Vice President, Constitutional Commission members. So, kahit na walang disciplinary authority yung ombudsman doon sa mga ito, so they can still investigate allegations or misconduct, gather evidences, and recommend actions to relevant authorities. Yung impeachable officials is yung ombudsman can can provide a crucial evidence for impeachment proceedings against President, Vice President, member of Supreme Court, member of Constitutional Commissions, Ombudsman, and Deputy Ombudsman. So, it is to for the purpose of promoting accountability, good governance, integrity, and transparency. So, by investigating and disciplining the government officials and employees, so ombudsman helps to maintain the public trust and ensures officials act in the public interest. So let's go to the section number 3. An administrative case can be initiated through a written complaint, affidavits, and a certificate of non-forum shopping. The ombudsman or deputy ombudsman may initiate a proceeding based on criminal action, grievance, or request for assistance. So, katulad nung sinabi ko kanina na yung complaints can be filed in pwedeng verbal, pwedeng written, pero sinasabi rito na mas na naka-written para mas mabilis i-process. So, written complaints, nakalagay doon yung allegations against the government official or employee. And affidavits, so merong sworn statements doon that support the complaint. And certificate of non-forum shopping. So, yung certificate of non-forum shopping is a document that ensures the same case isn't being pursued in another forum. So, it means that It is a document that shows na yung defendant is walang the same case na hinihir ng another court, o walang the same case na final din sa kanya sa ibang korte. So, initiation by ombudsman or deputy. The ombudsman or deputy ombudsman can start proceeding based on criminal action, grievance or request for assistance. Ko kapag in criminal action, if a crime is suspected, so they can investigate and file charges. While on the grievance, a complaint or concern from the public or government employee. Yung request for assistance naman is from government agencies, officials, or the public. So after the initiation by the ombudsman or deputy, or ombudsman's office will conduct a preliminary investigation and then determine the jurisdiction and grounds. So sunod nun is magagather ng mga evidences, file formal charges if warranted, and then after that they will conduct a hearing and adjudicate the case. So let's go to the section number 3. An administrative case can be initiated through a written complaint, affidavits, and a certificate of non-forum shopping. The ombudsman or deputy ombudsman may initiate a proceeding based on criminal action, grievance, or request for assistance. So, katulad nung sinabi ko nung kanina na yung complaints can be filed in pwedeng verbal, pwedeng written, pero sinasabi rito na mas na naka-written para mas mabilis i-process. So, written complaints na nakalagay doon yung allegations against the government official or employee. And affidavits, so merong sworn statements doon that support the complaint. And certificate of non-forum shopping. So yung certificate of non-forum shopping is a document that ensures the same case isn't being pursued in another forum. So it means that it is a document that shows na yung defendant is walang the same case na hinihir ng another court, o walang the same case na final din sa kanya sa ibang korte. So, initiation by ombudsman or deputy. The ombudsman or deputy ombudsman can start proceeding based on criminal action, grievance or request for assistance. Ko kapag in criminal action, if a crime is suspected, so they can investigate and file charges. While on the grievance, a complaint or concern from the public or government employee. Yung request for assistance naman is from government agencies, officials, or the public. So after the initiation by the ombudsman or deputy, or ombudsman's office will conduct a preliminary investigation and then determine the jurisdiction and grounds. So sunod nun is magagather ng mga evidences, file formal charges if warranted, and then after that they will conduct a hearing and adjudicate the case. Section 4. Evaluation. Upon receipt of the complaint, the same shall be evaluated to determine whether the same may be A. Dismissed outright or any of the grounds stated under Section 20 of Republic Act 6770, provided, however, that the dismissal thereof is not mandatory and shall be discretionary on the part of the ombudsman or the deputy ombudsman concerned. B. treated as a grievance or request for assistance, which may be referred to the Public Assistance Bureau, this office for appropriate action under Section 2, Rule number 4 of these rules. Letter C, referred to other disciplinary authorities under Paragraph 2, Section 23 of Republic Act 6770 for taking of appropriate administrative proceedings. And letter D is referred to the appropriate office or agency or official for the conduct of further fact-finding investigation. And E is docketed as an administrative case for the purpose of administrative adjudication by the Office of the Ombudsman. So, ibig sabihin po, ang ibig sabihin ng Section 4 is dito yung evaluation. So, dito sa evaluation, malalaman ng Office of the Ombudsman kung yung file na complaints na yun is a-hear nila or a-adjudicate nila or a-refer nila dun sa ibang agency na dapat isa-refer nila dun sa ibang agency na mas nakakaalam doon sa case na yon or dismiss na yung pwedeng i-dismiss. So, nasabi dito, dismiss outright yung sa letter A. So, kapag yung Office of the Ombudsman, meron silang, hindi daw yun mandatory yung dismissal, but they have the discretionary power to dismiss kapag yung complaints is lack of evidence or insufficient evidence, lack of cause of action, at saka failure to exhaust administrative remedies. So, dun sa letter B naman, treat as grievance or request to i-refer doon sa Public Assistance Bureau para sa assistance, katulad ng counseling or mediation. Tapos sunod naman, yung letter C is refer to other disciplinary authorities. So, para dun sa administrative proceedings, halimbawa is, hindi naman pala dun sakop nila yun. So, i-refer nila dun sa, halimbawa ay dun pala ang mas nakaalam is about yung local government or disciplinary boards or yung Civil Service Commission. Refer for further investigation. So, sunod is yung docket as administrative case. So, pwedeng yung i-adjudicate yung case na yon. So, dun sa evaluation is very important in determining the complaints merit and appropriate course of actions. So, katulad ng sinabi kanina, yung dismissal nga is hindi siya yung automatic or mandatory. Yung ombudsman has exercises discretionary power, and complaints may be redirected to other authorities or agencies para sa ibang resolution, or yung ombudsman is ensures that yung complaints is kailangang talagang thoroughly investigated at saka na-address. So, yung Republic Act 6770 is the Philippines Ombudsman Act of 1989. Section number 5. If the complaint is an administrative case, the respondent must provide the complainant with affidavits and evidence, and must file counter affidavits within 10 days with proof of service to the complainant. So, it talks about the respondent's obligation. So, kapag daw yung case nga is yung administrative case, kapag yung complaints nga is determined as administrative case, so kailangan yung respondents o yung nireklamo is mag-provide ng affidavits and evidence. So, kailangan mag-submit noon with the sworn statements and supporting documents. And after that, and then file counter affidavits. So, respondents it is the respondent's written response to the complaint within 10 days. And then proof of service. So, yung respondent must show yung proof of delivering the counter affidavits to the complainant. So, ito ay ginagawa for the purpose na makikita yung fairness, transparency, and efficiency, which is the respondents or yung nireklamo has the opportunity to present their side also. And so hindi maging bias, and then transparent. So yung both parties as nagshi-share sila ng information and evidence, and it also streamlines the investigation and resolution process. So ibig sabihin, para mas mapabilis yung process nung case na yun. So if the respondent fails to comply the counter affidavit within 10 days and then provide the required documents and evidences, so ito ay maaaring magresulta sa default judgment at saka yung ina-assume na guilty yung nireklamo. So it is the complainant's right to receive the respondent's counter affidavit and evidences and review and respond to the respondent's submission and participate dun sa investigation and hearing. So after the respondent's submission, kapag nakapag-response na or nakapag-submit na yung respondents, is sunod na yung investigation and evaluation, yung hearing, and then resolution or decision, yung decision na ng ombudsman. If the hearing officer finds no sufficient cause to warrant further proceedings on the basis of the affidavits and other evidence submitted by the parties, the complaint may be dismissed. Otherwise, he shall issue an order or orders for any of the following purposes. So, ibig sabihin nito, kapag daw yung hearing officer ay wala siyang nakitang enough or sufficient cause na para magkaroon ng warrant para sa proceedings pa or pagpatuloy pa yung proceedings. So kapag walang sufficient cause, so yung complaints noong nagrereklamo is maaaring ma-dismiss o kaya naman is mag-issue ng order sa mga sumusunod na purpose sa next slide. The parties are required to submit verified position papers within 10 days of receiving the order, containing only the charges, defenses, and claims from their affidavits and pleadings, and any additional relevant evidence. If the hearing officer decides not to consider a case after filing position papers, affidavits, and pleadings, they may conduct a clarificatory hearing to determine if a formal trial or hearing is necessary. Parties can be present but not cross-examined. The hearing officer determines if proposed questions are necessary and relevant. So ibig sabihin, within 10 days of receiving the order, so both parties can submit position papers na kung saan is naglalaman nyo ng mga charges, yung summary ng charges, defenses, claims, tsaka yung mga evidences from affidavits and pleadings. So kapag yung hearing officer is hindi na kinonsider yung position paper, so magkakaroon ng clarificatory hearing. So if the hearing officer decides not to proceed with a formal trial, so conducts nga noong clarificatory hearing para saan to clarify issues and determine kung kailangan pa talaga na ang formal trial. So both parties may attend but cannot be cross-examined. So yung cross-examined is question a witness called by the other party in a court of law to discredit or undercut testimony already given. So, ibig sabihin ng cross-examine is yung questionin pa yung witness na doon sa testimony na nilabas naman na niya, I mean yung testimony na kanyang sinabi doon is yun nga ni i-question pa yon para pabulaanan or baliktarin. So, kaya sinabi dito na yung both parties daw is can be present but present or attend but cannot be cross-examined. So, yung hearing officer have the control on questioning o determine necessary and relevant questions and allow or allows proposed questions. So, this clarificatory hearing aims to clarify ambiguities, resolve doubts, and determine if formal trial is necessary. So, after clarificatory hearing, yung hearing officer yung mag-decide kung kailangan pa ba talaga ng formal trial or dismissal. So, the hearing officer will declare the case as submitted for resolution based on clarificatory hearings, affidavits, pleadings, and position papers. Parties must submit reply position papers within 10 days of receiving the order and only rebutting evidence. So, it means that hearing officer may declares the case submitted for resolution based doon sa clarificatory hearings nga ni yung position papers, affidavits, and pleadings. So, reply position papers within 10 days of receiving the order, both parties must submit reply position papers. And it should only contain dapat ng mga rebutting evidence o yung mga contradicting opponent's claims. Tsaka, doon din is hindi na pwede yung new claims or arguments na ilagay doon sa replied position paper. So, yung purpose nun is to ma-address yung opponents na arguments tsaka yung ma-strengthen yung parehong kanya-kanyang posisyon noong both parties. So, after reply position papers, yung hearing officer will review all the submissions, making a recommendation, and then ombudsman renders a decision on the resolution or adjudication. Witness can testify at a hearing only if their affidavits were submitted by the parties and serve on the adverse party for the formal investigation order. Their testimony is subject to cross-examination, redirect examination, and direct cross-examination. If new evidence is presented, the adverse party can cross-examine and submit rebuttal evidence. So, in order the witness to testify in the hearing, so, kailangan nag-submit na siya ng affidavits at nagkaroon na rin and yung affidavits is served doon sa opposing party or sa adverse party and then called by the party who submitted their affidavit. So, witness testimony is subjected or subject to cross-examination, redirect examination, and direct cross-examination. So, pag sinabing cross-examination, it talks about questioning by the opposing party. While the redirect examination, it is the follow-up questions by the original party, and the cross-examination is the additional questions by the opposing party. So, ibig sabihin daw nito, yung testimony noong witness ay pwedeng questionin noong opposing party. And then, yung original party naman or yung nagreklamo is pwede namang magkaroon din ng follow-up questions. And then, pwede namang magkaroon ng additional questions pa yung opposing party ulit. So, if there is new evidence presented, so yung adverse party or the opposing party can cross-examine. And then, they can also submit rebuttal evidence. So, it is for the purpose of ensuring fairness, transparency, and opportunity for both of the parties to present their case and thorough examination of the evidences. The rules allow counsel and evidence production through subpoena and subpoena duces tecum. However, certain pleadings are prohibited in cases motion to dismiss, motion for bill of particulars, and dilatory motions, which must be excluded from the case's records. So, the rules only allow the counsel representation, means parties can have lawyers represent them. So, ibig sabihin, yung both parties can have their own lawyers. And then, evidence production, subpoena, compel witness to testify. And subpoena juces tecum, it is compel production of documents or evidences. Kung yung subpoena is yung witness para mag-testify or mag-witness. And then, yung subpoena duces tecum naman is yung production ng documents or yung evidences. So, there are prohibited pleadings. So, yung sinabi na nga na motion to dismiss, so ito yung request to dismiss the case. Prohibited pleadings na yon. And then, motion for bill of particulars. So, ito yung request for detailed information about the charges. And then, dilatory motions or ito yung acts intended to delay or obstruct proceedings. For example, is the repetitive motions or acts for extension or motions for extension of time. So, prohibited pleadings will be excluded from case records. So, hindi na yun kasama dun sa case records and not considered by the hearing officer or ombudsman. Kasi sinabi nga ng prohibited pleading, so hindi na yun na-consider pa ng hearing officer o ng ombudsman. The hearing officer must submit a proposed decision within 30 days of a case being submitted for resolution containing findings and recommendations for approval by the ombudsman. The decision will be reviewed by the directors, assistant ombudsman, and deputy ombudsman with copies served to parties. So, hearing officer's proposal, so within 30 days of case submission, yung hearing officer ay kailangang mag-prepare ng proposed decision. And then, nakalagay doon is yung findings or facts and evidence analysis. And then, recommendations or it talks about the actions or penalties na pwedeng gawin or ipataw. So, proposed decisions. So, katulad nung sinabi, yung decisions daw ay nire-review ng directors, yung assistant ombudsman, deputy ombudsman. Section 7, the office of the ombudsman's decision in an administrative cases is final, executory, and unappellable. If the respondent is absolved of the charge or if the penalty is public censure, suspension, or a fine. However, the decision can be appealed to Court of Appeals within 15 days and the respondent wins the appeal, they are considered under preventive suspension and receive salary and other emoluments. Failure to comply with an ombudsman order can lead to disciplinary actions. So, it talks about the finality of the decision. So, ang sabi dito, yung decisions daw ng Office of the Ombudsman is final. Ibig sabihin, wala nang further administrative appeal, executory or enforceable, unappellable or no appeal to another administrative body. So, there are exceptions. So, decisions can be appealed to Court of Appeals within 15 days if respondent is absolved. Penalty is public censure, suspension, or fine. So, pwede palang mag-appeal pa rin sa loob laang ng 15 days kung yung respondent daw is naabsuelto or nagkaroon ng penalty laang na public censure, suspension, at saka fine. Section 8. A motion for reconsideration or investigation can only be entertained if filed within 10 days of receiving the decision or order, based on new evidence or grave errors. Only one motion is allowed and the hearing officer resolves within 5 days. So, it is the motion for reconsideration or investigation. So, there are two grounds which is pwedeng mag-file ng motion for reconsideration or investigation kung merong new evidence na hindi man na consider doon sa previous hearings, and then nagkaroon ng grave errors or yun nga grave errors doon sa hearing, sa process ng hearing. And then yung motion for reconsideration and reinvestigation ay pwede siyang i-filed within 10 days lamang upon receiving the decision or order. So, but it also have limits, which is only one motion is allowed. So, no multiple or successive motions. Section 9. The Ombudsman or their deputy can prevent a respondent from paying without pay pending investigation if the evidence of guilt is strong, the charge involves dishonesty, oppression, misconduct, neglect, removal from service, or the respondent's continued office may prejudice the case. The suspension should not exceed 6 months, but delay due to fault or negligence is not counted. So, when we say preventive suspension, it is a disciplinary measure temporarily removing a government official or employee from their duty pending investigation or administrative proceedings. So, ibig sabihin daw, yung preventive suspension ay isang paraan para na ginagamit upang pansamantalang alisin yung tao o yung government employees or official sa kanyang trabaho o posisyon habang ginagawa yung investigation and yung administrative process o yung hearing. So, merong grounds for preventive suspension katulad nung sinabi kaganina. So, strong evidence of guilt. So, ito yung malinaw na nagpapakita ng maling ginawa. So, dishonesty, itong mga corruption, bribery, or deceitful acts, oppression, abuse ng authority, misconduct, o ito yung mga unethical behavior. So, neglect o failure to perform their duties, removal from service, o cases where removal is, so merong conditions. Yung maximum duration niya is yung removal from service is 6 months. Yung no pay, so respondents receives no salary or benefits during dun sa suspension period. And then, so yung may exclusions, which is delay caused by fault or negligence doesn't count toward the 6-month limit. So the purpose of preventive suspension is to protect the integrity of investigation and then safeguard public interest, maintain public trust, and para ma-prevent yung pag-tamper ng mga evidence. Section number 10. The Office of the Ombudsman is responsible for imposing penalties on officers and employees charged under Executive Order Number 292, Laws or Rules. Penalties may include reprimand, suspension without pay, demotion, dismissal, or fines. The Ombudsman can also impose dismissal, cancellation of eligibility, forfeiture of retirement benefits, and perpetual disqualification of reemployment in the government service. This applies to administrative proceedings conducted under this rule. So, yung Office of the Ombudsman, ito yung isa, this is the independent constitutional body which is have the disciplinary authority over the government officers and employees. So, yung Executive Order Number 292 is the Administrative Code of the Philippines. So, there are penalties. Just like what I have already mentioned. So, reprimand, ito yung warning o ito yung verbal or written warning. Meron ding suspension without pay or it is the temporary removal from duty, walang bayad o walang sahod. When we say demotion, it is the reduction in rank or position. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung pagbaba doon sa posisyon ng isang employee or noong government official. Dismissal or ito yung permanent removal doon sa kanyang service or government service. Fines, ito naman yung mga monetary penalties. So, for grave offenses or serious misconduct, the Ombudsman may also impose dismissal. So, yung dismissal, katulad ng sinabi ka ganina, removal from service. So, cancellation of eligibility. So, ito yung hindi man, yung revocation of civil service eligibility. So, ibig sabihin is, canceled na yung kanyang eligibility, hindi na siya eligible. So, forfeiture of retirement benefits. So, ito yung na tinanggalan ng pension at saka yung mga retirement privileges. Ito namang perpetual disqualification is ito yung lifetime na hindi na siya ma-employ doon sa government. So, these penalties was applied to the administrative proceedings conducted by the Ombudsman. So, that's all. Thank you guys for listening to my report.